Yo, so I'm making this video for my brothers out there that embrace that grown man, bald and sexy look, right? So the other day I was talking to a few of my buddies and we were talking about how we keep our hair nice and clean to keep that bald man look. And it turns out a lot of us are doing kind of the same thing, but different at the same time. Most of us were using clippers only. We had a couple of dudes that were using clippers with the T-liners, and only one of us were using the razor to keep it nice and low on the profile. Me personally, for years, I have been using just the clippers. I think a couple of times, recently I started using the razor, but then I got this product, a head shaver, that I started using. That I got the first one I got was a no-name head shaver that I was just using to see, exactly how it is and what it actually does. And then I finally embraced it. I bought one recently. So first off, let me tell you about the no-name head razor that I got. First, and let me make sure I say, I am not recommending this head razor. This head razor actually sucks. But I'll show you some of the features of it and why it actually sucks, but why it also made me go out and buy an actual branded one. So, as you can see, this one is nice and easy in the profile. It fits in the palm of your hand. You can put your fingers in there. It's supposed to be similar to the skull shaver where you can put your hands inside and do your head, right? One of the things about this is that it actually has 7 heads, and each of the heads flex separately, but the actual head itself barely moves. So, I did like actually getting to shave my head with it. It made it pretty quick. The one thing that I would note is if you look at put this on the top of my head, because the way it is, these heads aren't even actually touching my head at all, and it doesn't flex on the middle. It only flexes from the side. So this turned out to be a pretty bad shaver, but it did give me an idea of what it would look like if I did actually use a head shaver on my head. So using this for a while, I decided recently that, hey, you know what? Let me get one of the better branded head shavers and just to see how that is. Now, I was looking at 3 different head shavers by the time I narrowed it down, doing all my reviews, all my research and stuff like that, and I came down to the Remington XR7 or the Balder Boss, the Skull Shaver Gold Pro, and the Remington XR5 or the Balder Pro. Now, because I'm a black man, I got, more thicker, coarser hair, and so that Balder Boss with the turbo setting seems to fit me nicer. It's kind of what I wanted to buy, wanted to purchase, but it was $100, and I couldn't justify really getting a $100 shaver, especially after all the reviews that I read said that, hey, there was really no difference in the actual shave between the Balder Boss, the Balder Pro, or the Skull Shaver. So I initially went ahead and purchased the Skull Shaver Gold Pro, and after I had purchased, I realized that, hey, that was still also a premium, and I wasn't quite sure if I'm ready to pay that for a head shaver. So I ended up settling on the Remington Balder Pro head shaver, the XR5. This isn't in an open box, so right now I already have it charging. It will be my first time using it, but what brought it to me is that, again, it does have 5 heads, and it is a little bit cheaper. It is only in the $50 to $60 range, so it worked out perfect for something to try out, to see if it's much better than that no-name brand before I decide to go ahead and purchase a regular brand. Besides, yes, right now it's November 3rd. This was cheap enough that if I like it and I could keep it, if one of the other ones goes on sale for Black Friday, then I'll cop me a second one and use this one as travel. But for right now, this is the one I'm going to use for today. So before I really get started, show you a couple of features of it. Right now it's charging. It has that nice little head cover on it. What I do like is that this is a little bit different. It only has 5 heads, but it moves from the inside. So when it presses on my head, it should be able to conform a bit to my head. Now, I don't think it's going to conform completely to my head, but at least it gives it some motion. And then the head itself also moves. The design is a little bit more ergonomic, as this other no-name was, all metal. It didn't really slip out of my hands at all, but this one has a rubber grip on it, a little bit smaller. Again, I haven't used it yet, so I can't tell you exactly how good it is. But when I put it on my head, it still doesn't, at the top of my head, all the blades don't actually touch. In fact, aside from the middle one, none of them are really touching, but on the side, it's perfectly fine. and again, it moves with my hand. So we'll see how this ends up working. The other thing that comes with it comes with a pop-up, trimmer. As I read everywhere, it seems useless. It looks useless. I don't have a need for it. I don't really grow sideburns, so I probably won't be using that trimmer at all anyway. And so, with that being said, I typically do a wet shave when I've used these so far, at least with the No Name brand one. I typically use a wet shave with it, and then I'll use a gel on my head to go get it, nice and lathered up, and for my sensitive skin. I will do that today. Actually, what I will start off with, because my hair is obviously way too long to use a head shaver. That's the neat thing to note. These head shavers aren't good for longer hair, especially longer, thicker hair. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and trim down my hair with the clippers, show you what that looks like. Attempt to do it with a dry shave to show you the difference between this and the clippers on one side, and then I'll go in the shower and give myself a wet shave. So first things first, let me pull out the clippers. Alright, so here's that first look with just the clippers. As you can see, it still does a pretty good job. Clippers are always the clippers. Everybody likes clippers. It makes it look somewhat clean. But you can still see a little bit of stubble on it and whatnot. So one thing to note about all these head shavers is that they don't like a lot of hair, right? And especially my type of hair, the coarse, thick hair. They say in there it has to be smaller than 2 millimeters. None of us got a rule enough to measure hair. It's basically, it needs to look like a buzz cut in order for you to use it. If it goes anything more than a couple of days, it's going to start clogging up the head shavers. So generally, you want to start off with almost like a clipper type look. And I guess the same with, if you use the T liners, you tend to want to do that as well. But in this case, I just use the clippers. I don't have any T liners, so I'm not going to be able to show you how it is with the T liners. But I will show you a dry cut, the first cut with this Remington clippers, and let's see what we get from this. So again, let's give you a little idea of how much hair is actually there. Try to clean it off a bit. Hear the sound on it. First off, let me say that was quick. That took about 30 seconds to get half my head. It definitely cleaned it up a bit. And the crazy part is I didn't even follow the instructions. You were supposed to oil this thing up, and I didn't even oil it up. I used it straight out the package after charging it a bit, and it definitely does a better job. Actually, clean off the head to make it, my head is all extra dry so you can see the difference. But let's see, hopefully you can see the difference, at least up in front. You see that line up in front? Ignore my bald spot. This is the clipper side. This is the head shaver side. I'll try to go to the back. I don't know if I'll be able to see it from the back, but you can see that there's a difference. This will probably be the line up right about here. where this is the head shave side and this is just the clipper side. It definitely makes it a little bit closer, which a closer shave, which is pretty damn good. And like I said, that took about 30 seconds. One other note with this is one of the benefits of this is I unplug it, and sit here and see how to take the top off. It actually traps all the hair. So right now I've been stepping around all the hair from the clippers. This actually traps all the hair inside and can easily be cleaned out by opening it up and not doing that. Don't drop it like I just did. Taking it out and knocking all the hair out, and literally on the inside all the hair that was in there is also gone. There is another method they say you could use to clean it, is to take it, let me just put this back on, and dip it in a bowl, a cup of water, and just turn it on in a cup of water, and that should also get rid of all the hair. So there you see the difference, the comparison. You can easily see the line right there. So now I'm gonna go in, I guess to show you the difference between the wet and dry, I should only do one side. I'll try to do one side, but I may end up doing both and just see how that goes. Alright, so I just got out the shower, did only one side. This is the side that I did in the wet shave. You can not even really tell the difference between the wet shave and the dry shave. I mean, there are a few little spots that are, you can kind of see the difference, but for the most part, you can't tell the difference. When you rub your head, that's when you could kind of feel the difference. The wet side, wet shaving feels much smoother than the other side. But for the most part, if you were out there, if I did either way, you probably wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference at all. The one thing I gotta say is this was a dream using compared to this no-name brand one. I have been using this no-name brand one for months, and I was thinking if they all feel like this, I didn't have to get another one. My God, was I wrong. This is completely different and feels way better, way quicker, way easier on the scalp. Easier to clean. It didn't clog up at all, and I was in there for like 30 seconds and just got through it. I actually went over and did two covers of it because it was just that quick. Felt much nicer in the hand, didn't feel like I was going to drop it at all, and it just felt lighter. Everything about it felt great. I didn't think there was going to be a difference in the quality because I figured they were all the same. I was completely wrong. The quality of this is fantastic. Quite frankly, after using this one just one time, I'm not even sure if I even need to get the Pro or the Skull Shaver, because this does the job just as even better. I was worried about getting the Pro or the Balder Boss because I figured that turbo might help with my coarse hair and thick hair. This did a fantastic job. So I'm gonna go hop in the shower and finish this up. But my God, this is good. I'm much better about these head shavers and would definitely recommend, even whether this one or not. Like I said, from what I read, they're all the same, but I would recommend getting a head shaver to make life easier, quicker. And so instead of just using a razor, this could be close, just as well. I mean, obviously a razor would get much closer, but this is just fantastic, and you could use this pretty quickly in any given day, after 2 or 3 days, just to continue to make your head look just as nice. So this is something I'll use very often, as opposed to the other one or doing a razor, because it takes a little bit more time. This is just nice and quick. All right, thanks for watching.